Hi, folks. My name is Girish Bally, the host for Back to Basics, another Back to Basics for another week for season three. Today, we're going to speak with Dozie Oheri. We're going to go and find out what foundation in kids and self care actually means when we get to the episode. But there's one hint I can give you. It's going to be really magical when we get onto the episode to understand who Dozie is all about, what does she do, and she's coming to a place where people need to be as one happy family and one big community. And that's what we're trying to go and talk about today. So let's go and talk to Dozie on Back to Basics to understand who she is, what she is, and why she is. Let's go there. Hey folks, my name is Girish Bally. As I said on the intro, today we're going to be talking about youth. And that's what I said on the intro. But then there are different aspects, as I said. There's mental health, there's activities, and a community that they're trying to build. And that's what it's all about, right? And Dozie is a guest of my show, and she's going to have an awesome time. Actually, I'm going to have an awesome time with her. So why don't we bring her to the call? Let's understand who she is, what she is, and why she's all here for Back to Basics. Dozie, how are you? Thanks for coming to Back to Basics.
Hey, Girish, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time that you're taking out to have me talk about me and what I do. So I
Of course.
appreciate it.
No, no, thank you. The pleasure is all mine and honor is all mine, and definitely for the show too. But Dozie, before we talk about the youth and the community and all the crazy fun stuff that we're going to talk about today, what does back to basic mean to you?
Back to basics means the foundation of who I am
Hmm.
and the foundation of what it is and why it is what I'm doing with my life. All right. And I think it's important to have that because I think it's important to have that for many reasons, but mostly because how can you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from,
Hmm.
right? And so to me, back that's exactly what back to basics is, and I've it's a lifelong journey to figure out the core and the purpose and coming back to those things, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again for that. But can I just ask you a question? When you said foundation and core, right? Um, when did you realize that that core or the foundation was missing out of your life or a purpose? I don't know if that makes sense to you
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't understand all that when they're young. I mean, I want to party when I'm young.
right.
When did you realize that?
So it was after I had been working. So I had graduated college
Hmm.
and I started working for a couple of organizations and companies, just trying to land a job. And during that time period, something kept pulling at me saying, Dozie, you got to figure yourself out. You need to do some work on yourself mentally. You need to practice also what you're preaching.
Hmm.
Um, and the line of work that I was doing was always working with children and helping people. I just felt like I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my professional career, and I was kind of lost in who I was personally.
Hmm. Hmm.
And one day I was at work, and I just felt unsettled, and I knew that I wouldn't be there for very long.
Hmm.
And the reason I felt unsettled was because everything in my life had kind of come to a head.
Hmm.
It was time for me to make a decision about who I wanted to be going forward and what I wanted to do with my life going forward.
Hmm.
And so I knew because of that I wasn't going to be at that job for very long, but I knew what was coming for me a lot was um was a lot better,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I just had to figure out who is Dozie before I could get to that place. But the
Sure.
first step was leaving that job to take that journey.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, thank you again. Dozy, just an FYI, when I looked at your profile on LinkedIn and when I looked at your website and what you do, basically I kind of stalked you all over the place, right?
It's okay.
And
Stalk me.
and no, 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 in a nice way, but it reminds me of a interview that I saw. There was a singer who is very good at his organization job, a career job. Okay, but his satisfaction was more on music.
Mm.
So what he did is he just went to his boss and he says, "I'll see you later," because this was my calling. Even though there was money, no money, he does not know, but he knows his struggles. But at the end of the struggle is love and caring, right? And I think
Right.
that's what I saw when I saw these two things about you. So thank you for being who you are, Josie, for that.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. I know that this youth community is very important because it looks like we need to teach the kids activities, development, mental health, or is it all three all at the same time? I mean, is that these three words kind of the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are at the same time, and there's such a need for mental health support and development and those things that you said for our kids because a lot of them are not receiving it in their foundation, which is their home, or
Mm,
with their foundation, which is their home.
mm,
And so I didn't receive that, and I come from a two-parent household, and I come from what looks to be a traditional household where the parents are providing for their children.
mm,
And I still didn't get those things that I needed as a child, which is why I started my organization.
mm,
For the reason being that I didn't receive what I needed as a child. My
mm,
foundation was rocked. I
mm,
had mental issues growing up, and I didn't have support in helping me to work through those issues. And
mm,
then it manifested themselves differently in my adulthood.
mm,
And so I wanted to turn around and provide what I was learning in my adulthood and my later years to essentially my younger self so
mm,
that that younger me could have somewhat of a stronger foundation than the adult me does.
mm, mm. Dozy, let me ask you this: with the struggles that you have gone through in your young days, right? Um, was it hard to find a mentor that to guide you in a good way, or did you start reading books and interviews and celebrities to give you some guidance from their vision to give you vision? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you mean in my young adult years or as an adult? Because for
Both,
me,
I
this
guess.
is
I guess
both.
because because I don't, I don't see you struggling today. I think you're leading people because I think you're being a mentor for them. But I'm talking about you when you were young. Was there a mentor for you?
Right. So ideally, the mentors that I had were the adults around me in my
Mm,
life. Right,
mm,
would be
mm,
my parents, family, friends, going to church, and pastor and youth groups and all. And I was in all of those things, and I
mm,
had those things, but
mm,
yet again, I didn't have what I needed as a child, which was just simply emotional support.
mm,
Right. And then in terms of my emotional support and mental health, and as an adult, I started to see a therapist. Right.
mm,
And therapy really did give me the tools and the skills and and the language to articulate and identify first what I was experiencing, and then to give me action oriented items and action oriented things that I could do in my real life
mm,
to work through what I was experiencing.
mm,
And, it's interesting because now looking back, and still it's always a struggle. And I like that you said, looking at me, I'm a leader and I'm someone that supports other people. But that's just it, is in our mentorship, we need people who are vulnerable, who are
mm,
real, who are raw, and show us their authentic self,
mm,
because life is not just one way. Life is not linear. Life happens in different facets and forms and shapes, and we need people who can be themselves through, like they say, the good and the bad, and just show us their authentic self, to show us that what life really looks like. And right.
mm,
And so
mm,
now I have that. And yes, I read, I listen to podcasts, people like yourself. I surround myself in my real life with people who support my mental health and support me, professionally and personally, which is something that I learned that I needed in therapy. That is how important it is to find your tribe of
mm,
like-minded individuals. And
mm,
so through all of those things, I can call myself a leader because I am showing up as my authentic self and I'm learning about myself and teaching others along the way.
Yeah, thank you again for explaining that. And it's it just a thought came in my mind is that it sounds like uh, maybe that's not the right word. So you can correct me if please do. Okay, a broken person is helping the other broken person to be fixed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because essentially we're all broken. No one
Right,
broken is I wouldn't say broken, but everyone needs healing.
right.
Everyone has experienced a traumatic experience, and as adults, we're taught to cover up and go out into the world and shield yourself or shield what you're experiencing, which doesn't create a healthy lifestyle,
Hmm,
right? And I'm not saying go out there and tell everybody what's I'm gonna break down today. I mean, if you need to, then hey, by all means.
hmm,
But it's just about knowing who you are, being real about what you're experiencing, and being able to open yourself up to share that with others as well, because you're
hmm.
helping somebody.
That's right. That's right. You are. Thank you again for that, and thank you for correcting me because I didn't know what word to use because it's it just came in my head there, so I apologize about that.
No, you're fine.
So there's a website for you, and it says choose to do. Uh, so where did that name come from? I mean, are we telling the kids that choose what fits you?
So that name is it means that in life that you have all of the answers because you are the person that's making the choice for yourself.
Hmm,
Ultimately, what life comes down to are choices. You can choose who you want to be, you can choose how you want to be, you can choose how you want to show up in the world,
hmm,
right? And if we teach you that life is about choices and those choices start with you, then you can set yourself up for success.
hmm. Yeah, thank you again for that. The community that you built, is it more activities, mental health, or is it more of developing your educational skills?
So it is developing your social emotional learning skills. It's called SEL,
Okay.
social emotional learning, and giving the kids tools to be able to express themselves, to emotionally self regulate,
Hmm,
right? And give them different choices or different perspectives on choices that they can make in their lives. So it's opening up their mind to what life could look like through either collaborating with different corporate partners, either having we have interactive activities for our kids as well. And so we use these means and these tools to teach our kids personal skills and um, ways that they can communicate and express themselves. If that
hmm.
makes
Yeah.
any sense. I don't know if I said that right in the
No,
right
no,
wording,
no. It's
but that's exactly what we do.
no, no, no. It sounds perfect. Thank you again for explaining that. Uh, but because kids are very vulnerable
Mm.
and they don't know where to go, so do you guide them as to which program kind of suits you, or do you just say, you know what, try this for a couple of hours throughout the day, and you tell me which fits you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically, how do we run our programs is
Mm-hmm.
what you're asking. And so the way that we're set up is our programs are 5 to 7 weeks. And we go out to a facility, a location, be it a school, a group home, a homeless shelter, which is most of our population, kids who are extremely disadvantaged. We work with them for that amount of time, 1 hour a week. Um, and our programs have different pillars. And so one that we run the most often is called Breaking the Cycle, which promotes self love and leadership among boys and girls. Right.
mm,
And we work with predominantly Black teens, 12 to 17 years old. And so for this program, we'll split up the girls and the boys, and we'll work with each group for 5 weeks, 5 weeks each. And we'll focus on topics like healthy relationships versus unhealthy ones, using learning different language to talk to yourself in a positive versus a negative way,
mm,
discussing their fears and how they can create healthy ways to move past their fears,
mm,
helping them establish a vision for themselves, and then creating action oriented items for their vision. And then we have our spa day, which is a spa day for the girls and a spa day for the boys, which talks about self care, because self care is now it's a topic of discussion, but it's really a way for you to take care of yourself and pamper yourself. And it can look a myriad of ways, but it's something that I think is beneficial. And you can do that as a child.
mm. Yeah, because it looks like we need to be taught to do self care. I guess I'm learning much later in my life about self care. And I think in today's world, the youngsters, the Gen X's, well, I should say Gen Zs, really, that they're learning the new thing, which is self care and massages and mental rest, which we never used to have because we're working 24/7, like you and I,
24/7,
right?
right?
So, but thank you again for explaining the program, the design for the kids, and I'm glad that you're teaching them that you have actually never gone through. So, so thank you again for that. So there's a new segment, Dozie, that we have started for season 3, which is the rapid fire round. There are some words or sentences will just come out of my mouth, and what are your
Uh-oh.
processes? And you tell me what you think of those words and sentences. Are you ready to play that?
I don't know, but I'll do it. Let's go.
Okay. You can say no, it's okay.
No, no, I'm ready. No, I'm
Okay.
ready.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. The first word is going to be foundation.
Foundation, strength.
Core.
Ooh. Do I have to say one word or can I say like a
No, you can
sentence?
say a sentence if you like. Sure.
Who I am.
Practice.
Oh, never makes perfect, but you keep doing it.
Hmm. Youth.
Um, you have all the time in the world.
Hmm. Development.
Growing to continue to be better.
Hmm. Mental health.
Foundation.
Okay. Uh, and I'm going to say foundation again because you just cheated.
Okay. Foundation again is the start.
Okay. Mentorship.
Oh, um, that's everything. That's guidance. That is support and help, and it's everything.
Hmm. Raw.
Scary.
Shield.
Mm, sometimes not the best choice.
Hmm. Fear.
Is useful, but can also be a dagger.
Hmm. Vision.
It's the foresight to achieve what you want, but doesn't happen without action.
Hmm. Self care.
Oh, self care is difficult.
Uh, choose to do.
Making choices for yourself every day, all day.
Hmm. Origin story.
Um, painful, but happened for a reason.
Okay. Two more. Dozy.
Fun, loving, and learning every day.
Hmm. And the last one is back to basics.
Can I say foundation again? Just one- foundation.
Well, I guess I lied. So foundation again. Go ahead.
Foundation, um, is oh, I want to say newness, but I don't feel like that does it justice. But I'll say newness.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you again for playing the rapid fire for season 3. You know, it's one of the new segments that we created, and getting great feedback when it comes to the rapid fire round. So thank you again for that.
That was fun.
So Dozy, let me ask you this: you've been doing this for a number of years now. What is your plan for the next 5 6 years? What is your vision? I should say now. Well, and don't say foundation.
Okay.
What is it? What is your vision for the next 5 6 years when it comes to this? Choose to do.
So my plan is to expand globally. I was just in Ghana for the first time in December,
Hmm.
and I knew that I wanted to expand the organization and establish branches around the world. I just didn't know exactly where, and so taking these trips to figure out what's the best fit. And Ghana was a place that so it's just this information, mental health support is so needed,
Hmm.
and amongst Black people, amongst African people, and
Hmm.
so I would love for us to establish a branch in Ghana, but definitely over the next couple of years, I would it's definitely growing, um, and mentoring, increasing our mentorship and eventually involving or adding parents and family members to our curriculum.
Hmm.
And definitely want to hire more staff because staff is important in the longevity of our organization.
Hmm.
But yeah, just continuing to do everything that we're doing, but just increasing it and growing.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you again. I would love to actually see the community and that foundation, or I should say foundation again, right? Uh, to see how this whole community kind of grows, and I would love to visit one day, and wherever the branches are, we can definitely talk offline on that. But thank you again for that. So that's what your plan is for the next 5 years. But thank you for that. Is there a book that you usually read to motivate you to be a good leader? I mean, whatever the good leader. I mean, there's no right answer, but a decent one for the kids.
Um, I'm not really an avid book reader anymore.
Okay.
But I've read the most recent one was Michelle Obama's first book
Hmm.
that came out. But
Hmm.
really, I'm a podcaster. I
Hmm.
listen to a bunch of podcasts. The one that I'm listening to right now is Jamel Hill,
Hmm.
and she brings guests on to talk about which are mostly celebrities or well-known people, to talk about their trajectory and just some
Hmm.
things that are staples in their lives.
Hmm.
And I listen to these kind of podcasts, and originally it was to hear how they, made it or became successful and the roads that they took. But now I'm realizing I'm listening to these kind of podcasts to see that, oh, I can do it too. Like
Hmm.
someone else has done it, so can I.
Hmm.
And it's more so of a motivator to keep going
Hmm.
versus to take exactly what they're doing and then apply it to my life. It's just to see that someone else has done it, so I
Hmm.
can do it too.
Yeah, thank you again. And you didn't mention my name, so thank you again for that.
Curious as well. That's what you're one of the podcasts do.
So thank you, Dozy, for coming here. But before you leave today, do you have any last words for all my Back to Basic listeners and my viewers? And how was your journey on Back to Basics too? On top of that,
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last question?
the last question is, how was your journey on Back to Basics too? On top of that,
Yeah, it was so amazing being here, and getting to meet you for the first time. We've had corresponded a little bit, back and forth, but
mm,
I being here has been great to meet you and talk with you and have this conversation with you and your audience as well. So that's been awesome.
thank you. Thank you, Dozy, for being on Back to Basics, and hopefully you and I will connect even offline with your future endeavors, and hopefully you'll come up with Dozy 2.0 version and come back to basics, because I do love to understand what the journeys are for my guests, because my guests are my celebrities. So thank you again for being here and supporting me on the small podcast that I have. And it's great to get to know you better.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you. So guys, we spoke with Dozie today, and we talked about foundation, and that's the magic word of the day that we've been using. But the thing is that foundation takes a lot of work, a lot of mentorship, a lot of leadership, a lot of reading, a lot of listening. And then you're teaching other people how to do that. When I say other people, I mean kids. And these are fragile kids. Those are going to be your future leaders. Let's put it that way. So as usual, as always, there is a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and hopefully my guest will like this quote. Throughout this life, you can never be certain of living long enough to take another breath. So guys, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and I will see you next time on Back to Basics. Thank you. Hi guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. You know, with your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are three things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.